Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 65 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you still from the worldwide headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia as we continue looking forward to more great discussions in the coming weeks and months. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We're highlighting another great organization this week and have Jennifer Stepp and Lauren Parker with us today. Jennifer is the president of the board of directors of the Little Theater of Gastonia, and Lauren is the executive director. Jennifer and Lauren, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And so, as usual, we're going to get right to it and maybe start with you. Jennifer, just tell us a little about yourself, anything that you'd like to share.
So a lifelong resident of Gastonia. I won't tell how many years, but quite a while. Grew up here, attended Hunter House High School, proud Husky, and have been involved in the community really for as long as I can remember. As my parents were very involved, so we were involved as young children, and I try to also instill that in my kids, and I'm proud to say, they're involved in the community as well. Former school teacher. Also done other things in the worked with other nonprofit boards in the community, and had a lot of fun coaching and being a gymnastics mom.
Okay.
I didn't coach gymnastics; I coached basketball and those things, and a dance mom and a theater mom, and now a grandmom. So that's the best.
That's very good. So, did you leave one big thing out that you do for our local community?
Yeah, I am also the city council person for Ward 5, which the Little Theater happens to sit in Ward 5.
Oh, okay,
so
very good. Sorry,
cool.
I couldn't let that one go.
Thank you.
Lauren, what about you? Would like to share?
Well, I have also been a lifelong resident for a lot less years than Miss Stepp right here. But I was born and raised in Gastonia. I still live in Gaston County. I went to school in Gaston County. I have done theater for 3 decades, and that's pretty much my whole shtick is theater. So
Okay.
I've done theater, lots of arts.
So what, is there a connection somehow between the two of you that neither one of you mentioned?
I think she's embarrassed.
She's my mom.
Okay. Sorry again. That's two things. That's this investigative reporter here just got two things out that you guys weren't going to share.
No.
So where did you go to school?
I was I went to Gaston Christian until 4th grade. Then I was homeschooled, and then I went to Belmont Abbey College.
All right. Very good. So again, we appreciate you sharing that. So obviously, the main thing we want to touch on and talk about today is the Little Theater of Gastonia. So this question is just for both of you. I mean, and let you both just go down whatever road you like to go. But there may be some listeners out there who aren't familiar with the Little Theater. I mean, myself being a lifelong resident as well here, I mean, I'm familiar with it, but it's not something that I know a whole lot about. But what's the mission? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your role? Kind of go into that. So just obviously this is the main point here. So you guys can have at it.
Well, I'll do the business part and you do the creative part. So Little Theater is a nonprofit civic arts organization, and believe it or not, it's beginning its 73rd season. So
Wow.
The theater started back in the 50s, and the city actually did some of their practicing and rehearsing in some of the city and county buildings and some of the area churches as well to start with, and then the city donated the land that it sits on now, and the building was built in the mid-50s, or mid to late 50s. And so our big thing, of course, is giving the community opportunity to come together to participate in live on-stage performances. And I'll just sort of read you our mission statement is the Little Theater of Gastonia endeavors to enrich the lives of all its participants, audiences, and partners in Gaston County and the surrounding regions through the theater arts in the spirit of excellence, community, education, and collaboration, and to bring them the excitement of live performance by providing quality productions that engage, inspire, challenge, entertain, and enhance our community.
All right. That's a big That's a big mission. So
It's a big mission.
How would you follow up with that, Lauren?
So my main role coming in is to uphold that mission by finding collaborative partners within the community, making us known in the community, bringing community members in, and making art accessible and inclusive and safe and diverse, which has been my personal mission for quite some time. So that's kind of my main role. And then, of course, the not as interesting parts like creating programming, putting together productions and community events, and designing graphics. So that's kind of my role.
Okay, so let's get right into the big thing. So what are, for lack of a better term, my ignorance, so programs, performances, initiatives? I mean, just kind of go into what are some of the things that you're involved with that you guys are doing on a daily, monthly basis, and of course, before we're finished, we'll make sure our listeners know what's coming up and anything like that. So what can you share with us there?
So we just closed out a museum exhibit. We did a museum exhibit at the Gaston County Museum of Art and History.
Okay.
That's something that we've done. We've done a couple of things with the Gaston Honey Hunters. We've brought actors in to do some of like their theme nights, which was really fun to promote our actors and our shows while promoting Gastonia and the baseball team. We have a jazz series that have started with some community members that are young, high school age, and just a little bit older. We call it the And All That Jazz, and we do it quarterly. That's a new fun thing. We have brought back children's shows. That's a thing that we've done with, we're in the middle of doing Matilda right now, opens next week, which is a mostly children's show. I'd say it was probably 85 to 90% children under the age of 18. And programming, we are working with therapeutic arts coming up. We're doing arts specifically focused on children on the spectrum. It's off the top of my head. I didn't write my notes down. I improv. That was always my thing. But that's off the top of my head, some of the things that we've brought in. I've just had this position since January, so...
So we are doing five main stage, and then 3 camps. So
4.
we're ramping it up.
We're doing 4.
4 camps now.
Yes.
Okay, 4 camps now. So we're ramping up, programming up. And one of the things that we're trying to do is make the theater a true community theater, because I heard a lot of that theater doesn't represent my community. Okay, so one of the things the new board has tried to do, which is the most diverse board we've ever had, and that was intentional, is to make sure we have programming that includes things that represent or appeal to all members of the community. Now, every single show won't, but, that we have some of those offerings. And one of the things that she's done as executive director is put out surveys so we can sort of get an idea of what is it that the community wants to see here. And we're hoping to do a few more. We don't have a lot of extra time ramping up our own programming, but like the jazz series and maybe some spoken word or improv nights or some of those things. But we have a very small window of time to do that because one set's coming down, another set's coming up, one cast is leaving, another's coming in.
Drama classes during the day.
Yes, and that's the other thing that, besides the more diversity as far as representation and programming, is making it available to the communities. So we're trying to find ways to fund scholarships and have volunteer opportunities where people can volunteer and then see the show. And then every one of our shows, we have our first Saturday night is a pay what you can night. And as long as you can pay $1, because we're required by the rights, people that give us the rights, as long as you can pay $1, then you can come and see the show. So we're trying to make it so that everyone has those opportunities. And then, as she's already mentioned, ramping up the children's programming. Again, the Little Theater in the past had a rich children's program, and it had sort of fallen by the wayside. So we're trying to ramp that up with not only the camps and at least one main stage show that includes children or is for children, but also drama classes and hope in the future master workshops and classes and things like that for children who are interested in the arts, especially those who may not have the opportunities at schools, because many times that doesn't start till they're like in high school.
All right, so you mentioned a couple of things there. I think I heard 4 camps. So
Yes.
tell me, can you kind of get into a little more detail? What does that mean when you're talking to an air conditioning engineer guy. So
our next summer, we just finished this summer. We only had 1 camp. We hadn't done camps in a long time because of COVID.
Sure.
So we actually had a stop of camp. We had just started in 2019, and then we stopped until this summer, and we did Moana Junior. And we had a hard cap of 40 kids, and within a month of us offering it, had over half that had wanted to sign up. So this coming summer, we have expanded, and we are going to do a high school, middle school camp during the summer, an elementary school camp, and then we are doing 2 theater extravaganzas that are specifically for the neurodiverse community. They're not as long, they're not as intense, and they are focused more on getting involved and learning the basics and kind of finding ways to creatively express oneself. So all of that's going to be happening next summer. I can't tell you which shows yet because we only have the rights to one and we haven't announced it, but it will be on our website and hopefully just a couple of weeks. So it's a fun show. It is a really fun show. But that's all next summer. And
one of the things that we're doing for the special populations too is new, and I was real excited about it when our board members came up with the idea of having sensory bags. So we'll be starting this in Matilda.
Yes.
So that children can,
It's
or not just children, but anyone that may have need of headphones, glasses, quiet fidget spinners, any kind of thing like that. So those sensory bags will be able to check them out before the show and then return them at the end of the show.
So, that's something. Gosh, I sure wouldn't have thought of. But I'm assuming there could be situations where someone may either be apprehensive to come or may not be able to enjoy it as well without that type of consideration. So, a camp is something to kind of go back to that real quick. A camp is something where kids come in. It's a period of time, and then they're doing a show by the time they're finished. Is what I'm understanding there.
So we use what's called junior camp. So it takes what is usually a 2.5-hour show and pares it down to an hour.
Okay.
And our camps is a 2-week experience from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For our middle and high school camps.
Okay, middle and high school.
They're a little older, so they can deal with long days a little more. And we start with, on the first day, we do auditions, and the last day, that night, we do 1 of 2 performances. And these kids, and they work hard. We split them up, and we go over songs that they learn, all the songs, all the dances, and of course, the scenes, the show. Sometimes we will have the last show that we did, the last camp we did, we had, they helped create their own part of the set. They did, they painted the stage, they created palm trees because it was Moana, and then they all had camp shirts, and they went and they tie-dyed them as part of the ocean. So when the campers that were the ocean got to wear their shirts they created, and the rest got to take them home. They were wearing other stuff, leaves and burlap and flowers. So we tried to make it really well-rounded. We brought in 4 different community members that are associated with the theater to teach about set and history. We talked about the Maori Samoan art history and why Maui's tattoos were important and why we weren't going to use them because they were cultural and religious. And we had a costumer come in and talk about costume pieces and how he creates costume pieces. We had someone come in and talk about light and sound. We had a music masterclass. So it's a lot.
So it's an intense, immersive
experience.
It is.
Okay. So it's one of the reasons we're kind of splitting it up, because we did have a couple younger kids that were, I mean, they were troopers and they were along for the ride, but there was a couple times we were picking up and going, let's go. They were like, can we have snacks? And we're like, yes, we want a snack too.
Snacks and nap time.
Right. So, yeah, it's really fun. And it's at the end of one of our last days of camp, I kind of did a sneaky poll with the kids. I was like, what show, if we were doing this next year, what camp would you want to do? And they were very adamant. Not a single one had the exact same answer. But they were like, oh, we want to do this and this and this. I'm like, good. That's at least 7 or 8 more years of camp. I don't have to worry about.
Okay, good.
You guys have answered it for me. So
very good. So it's kind of sticking with this the initiative conversation. I heard drama classes. If I'm going in the right direction. So kind of tell our listeners maybe about that. I'm assuming that's something that's kind of ongoing.
Yes. So it's semesterly. We divide it up. We have Act 1, which is K through 5, and then Act 2, which is 6 through 12. And our Act 1 is very basic building. This is what auditions look like. This is how we move intentionally. This is how we project and enunciate. This is how we show what we're feeling through just our face or just our hands. These are what costumes are. This is blah, blah, blah. And this semester we're focused on fables and storytelling, and the next semester we're focused on fairy tales, which this class is actually all female, so they're very excited about the fairy tale portion. And then our Act 2 is a more intensive building an audition book, finding your vocal range, learning how to budget for shows, finding proper monologues, and it's titled Scenes and Showcases. So right now we are finding monologues from intentional shows such as Still Magnolias and Our Town and the Incident of the Curious Dog at the Nighttime, and we're learning those pieces and finding the emotion and the drama and the comedy and all of that. So we are setting them up for when they come and audition for our shows, hopefully in the next couple of years, this year, next year, the year after, they're ready. They're ready.
Are there any adult classes, or is it typically school age?
So we offer master classes that are for adults that are shorter. They're not every day, one day every week for 3 months straight, because a lot of adults don't have that time. So we offer a monthly master class that focuses on one thing, whether it's auditioning or it's improv or whatever someone wants to learn more about. But we haven't had a lot of adults who want to do that, because the adults that want to do that usually audition for the shows and are in the shows.
So. Gotcha. Yeah. So, what about, looking back? I'm going to maybe go back to you, Jennifer. You said you've been involved for a pretty long time with the Little Theater. What's something you remember the most? The impacts that you've seen, whether it's community, a performance, or show or program, whatever, that you're most proud of, since your time involved with the Little Theater. Anything you can think of, thinking back, that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I have fond memories of going when I was younger and seeing a lot of the children's programming. So I have probably two of my favorite ones from then was The Wizard of Oz and Pooh Corner. But I would say recently, as we've revamped and tried to get things back up, probably one of my favorite was the last one that we did, which Lauren happened to direct, which was Something Rotten.
Okay.
It was a fun, whimsical, spoof almost type of musical, and we had a lot of positive comments on that. Even the fact that some people who had seen it in New York enjoyed it better here. Not saying the talent was necessarily the same, but the spirit and the fun and the community, and seeing some of these young actors and actresses, shine on the stage and work together so well. And to see that, again, it was a little different than what some of the same old offerings have been for years, and to see that it was so well received was very encouraging. Now, I love the classical traditional stuff too.
Right.
But we know, as if we want to keep it going, we have to, realize the age
evolve
and
a little bit,
and continue. Yes. Those were some great memories. But just growing up with my friends there, making friends now there, and the community spirit. I mean, you'll find often, especially if younger adults and children are involved, when a show is over, it is like we're, after that last show, tears, tears, because not just that the show is over, but those relationships that they've forged. You're there every night, and you almost become like a little family.
Oh, sure, I bet.
So that's great to me. I've been very excited to see some people who have had problems with confidence or self-esteem or maybe even speech or dance. And I'm one of those with dance, by the way. I'm a challenge. It's hard, even though I had dancers. But, to see them achieve something and be so excited that they achieved something, and, that's always rewarding. And that's, maybe that's partly my mom's heart, or maybe it's my teacher heart, but to see them feel like they have accomplished something is always very rewarding.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Well, what about you? I mean, I know you haven't been in your current position very long, but I'm assuming you've been involved with the Little Theater longer than that? So what would you say, looking back, and what you may be most proud of? Or you can say what you're most proud of since you've been the executive director, but you can go back further, of course.
What I'm the most proud of myself. I don't talk about myself very often. I don't find myself to be too interesting. I know, I'm sorry. I keep doing that.
It's all right.
I would say one of my very favorite shows in a community theater I have ever seen was at the Little Theater, and it was the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and I believe 2016. It may have been the end of 2015. And I remember sitting in the theater, and it was one of the first times I'd actually been in the theater, that Little Theater, and going, I like it here. I like this. This is really good. You hear a lot of people that really like to poo-poo community theater, that it's not any good, but, I mean, it is. That's where, a lot of Broadway actors start in their schools and community theaters. So I was like, this is really good. I really like this. I started working at the theater in 2018 as programs manager and production manager. That's kind of one of the things I was initially really good at. I was creating seasons and creating programs and events. So it kind of just naturally fell there. So being able to see a lot of the work that I initially started in 2008 with like the Pay What You Can days and the drama classes and the drama camps and bringing children in and more diverse seasons. So like our season this year is a little different than seasons in the past because every show was very intentional in what audience we're trying to reach. So it's not just 5 shows for the same group. Okay. There is a show that's in there that, 75% of Gaston County may not want to come and see, but 25% that doesn't usually get to go and see shows will. And there's children's shows, and not everyone likes to see children on stage. I adore watching that, but I know some people don't, and that's fine. And we have classics, and we have holidays, and we have shows that are very much meant for just our more mature audience. So seeing that kind of come to fruition has been very rewarding. I'm like, okay, I'm glad people kind of see the vision and believe in me enough to kind of push it forward and take that leap. And if it doesn't work, we're blaming Jennifer because she's the president of the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that kind
blame
of
mom.
stuff,
That's good. That's good.
I've been training for that for a long time. But seeing that come together has been great. All of our shows last season, I was really proud of. I only directed one of them. But I was really, really proud. In fact, last season had our very first children's show, which was Junie B. Jones. And it was the first time that since I worked there, well, since before COVID, that we sold out almost every seat in the house. So that was really cool to stand there. And if any show is going to sell out, I want it to be kid shows, because those kids, they get so excited and they think they are some hot stuff. It's so great to hear. So that's what I think I'm the most excited about or most proud of.
So are you typically, I'm sorry, Jennifer, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the other things that I'm proud of is that, it was a great accomplishment, was surviving COVID.
Oh, yeah.
The hospitality industry was hit so hard. So for a year and a half, our doors were closed.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't allowed to have any type of production or class going on. Well, we still have a building to pay for.
Yep.
An old building to pay for. We still have bills to pay. We still have insurance to pay. Nothing coming in. And we were probably a month away from losing the Little Theater. But we were able to write grants and get some grant funding and donations for people in the community to keep us afloat during that time. By the skin of our teeth, we survived. And then even once we were allowed to open back up and put people in seats, people were a little afraid.
Sure.
So, our first audiences weren't as big as we would like to them, because some people just weren't ready yet.
Yep.
And then some people, we were following the CDC guidelines. Some people wouldn't wear a mask. So, there were all that involved. But, now, we're starting to get back to a more normal. But that was a huge accomplishment for our little board to withstand that time. And hopefully we won't have to ever do that again. But, now to rebuild and to hopefully have sometime a little safety egg nest, but that was a huge.
So are you getting back? I mean, the last this season or whatever is going on. Again, I apologize for. I'm sure I'm not wording all those questions right. But is it getting back to where you're getting, good crowds and things seem to be back to normal, or is that a dumb question?
That's not a dumb question. That is a question that's hard to answer because it's not been, I think, long enough to really see.
Gotcha.
Every show we've had more people, and every show we've had more engagement, whether it's been online or it's been at the box office or it's been in auditions. We had over 80 people audition for Matilda, which was huge. We've already sold a lot of tickets. I mean, we're not sold out, so but it is it's a good sign, the amount of tickets that we've sold so far. So it's definitely not dead, which is, a big fear. It's still a fear. You're seeing very prominent, very important community theaters in big, giant cities like Charlotte that are shutting down left and right. And that makes you really kind of sick to your stomach to lose those theaters. And then you're also thinking, are we next? Because we depend on our community. We have to. All of our tickets, all of our actors, all of our donors, all of our sponsors is all our community. So if the community decides that they don't want to support us anymore, then we're done. So we seem to have right now have started a good incline, and we're hoping to keep that momentum going.
So we're going to pretend and stick to that positive outlook. So with that that segue, kind of looking ahead. I mean, what are you're looking? I don't know that I like this 5 to 10 year thing, but that's kind of seems a normal question. But looking ahead, I mean, what do you see for the future of the theater, and are there any big plans that you can share, or maybe they're secret and you'd have to kill us if you share them, but kind of looking ahead to the question for both of you.
Well, mine's more general, and you can, if you want to be more specific. But 5 years, I see hope things continue in a positive direction. A robust children's and youth program, even bigger than we have. That there's something going on all the time. That we have bigger audiences and bigger auditions and more buy-in and support from community partners. That it is a place where the whole community feels safe and welcome. and we're more visible and known, not struggling as much financially to keep things going. And then 10 years from now, sold out shows. Every show sold out. Maybe even adding a weekend to each production because we need to. Supported by all parts of the community, that we'll have a lot of season and show sponsors, and we'll be able to have paid full-time staff. And it's very difficult. It is a working board, and it is difficult sometimes to get everything done that needs to be done, as most people have obviously other paying jobs because we're all volunteer. And she is paid, but she works full-time, but she gets paid part-time. My big dream, and something I've been pushing for and will continue to push for, I even was pushing for this before I was on the city council, was for our city to have a performing arts center.
Gotcha. Okay.
And hopefully, in 10 years we'll at least be in the beginning stages of moving that direction, doing something in that direction, and that eventually the Little Theater would be a part of that. And hopefully that will be a public-private collaboration, partnership, and we would be a part of that as the civic nonprofit theater of the city. So that's my real pie in the sky goal, is that performing arts center that we'll be a part of.
Very good. Lauren, how would you answer that question, or did she steal your thunder already?
I don't know how I can to top that. That would be a little bit ridiculous. For me, I think my main goal is in 5 to 10 years for us to be completely accessible to anyone that wants to be involved, whether they're in the audience or they're on the stage, to be available and safe and inclusive. I mean, we've already started working towards that, just to keep going. So even if, we're not involved in any other way except for sitting in the audience, that it's continue to grow and to prosper and become better than us. That's the goal, is to be better than us, for the next people to come in to be better than us and bring in people better than us and just keep growing. So
yeah, I mean, that's a good one. That's a kind of the general, I think, for any organization, that's a good way to view going forward, right? Is lay a foundation, and it's better for the future individuals who are involved. So, I like this next question. You've already shared a lot of reasons, but maybe I'll start with you, Jennifer, on this one. Why is Gaston County better because the Little Theater is here?
Community. It's about community. It brings people together with a common goal. As we talked about, it builds relationships. It builds bridges across divides, and it puts people on equal footing while they're in that building. It provides an escape and entertainment and just a break from your everyday troubles and problems. But also it helps provide education and cultural experiences, and even helps with mental health. And it's an economic driver, so it also is good for our economy and bringing. I just was talking to someone today in my other role who's potentially going to be doing some development here, and that's one of the things he talked about, is how important arts is to these people wanting to come in and start businesses or, develop, that it is a huge part of that. So it's an economic developer too. And then while people go to the play, they go get a cup of coffee or dinner or the brewery. And then, if their kids are in class, they go and shop at the store while their kids in class. So it's truly many faceted positive impacts from it. And but just the biggest thing to me out of all those are all important, but it's just that community aspect.
Sure. Lauren, did she steal your thunder again? Or
she has.
I need to ask you first.
Yeah, you do. I mean, no. I would say, additionally to that, is one of the cool things that Little Theater does is it showcases our volunteers. So the theaters, all of our directors, our music directors, everyone is volunteer, and everyone's from around this area.
Okay.
So when you see our set is built by guys with 9 to 5s that come in on the weekends and build our sets. Our set painting and our costumes are done by local artists. Our our cast and our crew, they're all local artists who freely give their time and talent to the community. It's really showcasing that we have some incredible artists right here. Like, we don't have to go to New York. I mean, go to New York. You're going to find incredible artists in New York, but you're not going to find, and you might find some Gaston County residents up there, but you can go to Gastonia and see the Little Theater of Gastonia and see just so many incredible people showcase things that they don't have another outlet to showcase them in. They don't have the ability to just sew dresses and have it showcased, or paint giant circuses and books on the wall, or come out and act silly because they feel like if they act silly, they're being told by other people they're too much, or to be quiet. Yeah. And this allows them to express themselves safely and get applauded for it. So that's what I think makes it great, is watching. So, I mean, every single show that we do has a team of probably 30 to 50 people that's involved in some way, if not more.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a big impact.
Yeah, and it gives opportunity too.
Yeah.
Opportunity for maybe people who can't go for whatever reason, with as the talent pool gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or for transportation reasons or work reasons, they may not be able to be in a play in Charlotte, or they may not be able to be in a play in Chicago or New York or St. Louis, but they have that opportunity to still quench that passion here and showcase their love for the arts.
How many, I mean, on a perfect year, I mean, how many shows are you guys putting on?
It had been 4, okay, and we've moved it to 5 because we are doing a show this season next summer on top of the 4 summer camps that we are doing. Each show, if it's a play, if it's not a musical, we give 6 weeks. And if it's a musical, we give 8 because you usually bring in live music, and that's a lot. And there's dancing, so we have to, split times up with learning songs and learning dancing and learning lines. It's pretty back-to-back right now, 6 to 8 week rotations. And that seems like a long time. And when you're in it, it is the most long arduous time in the world, but it's a huge, quick turnaround. People that are learning 90 pages of words.
Oh, sure.
And just, a couple hours a week, because we all know that no one goes and actually practices at home like they're supposed to.
That's not true.
Oh, okay.
I practice.
It's not 100% true, but it's you just, when you're working and you have kids in school, or you're in school, because a lot of our participants are in high school, and so you're going to bed at 10 o'clock after doing homework, and then you don't have time.
Oh, sure.
We get it.
Yeah, it's quite a commitment.
It is.
It is
a
a commitment.
huge
It is a commitment.
And I think a lot of people, when they very first start, don't realize how big of a commitment they are. It is. And they're like, oh, I didn't know I was going to be doing this every single night for 6 weeks. Which we try to mitigate by our first couple of weeks of rehearsal. We have a very detailed schedule, and we do not call everybody every night. We are very specific about that, not to scare anyone potentially who wants to come and get involved. I don't remember what I started.
I don't know, but people to do like me and just go out and walk with your earbuds in and just sing the songs and practice, and everybody's looking at you like, what? Because they can't hear the music; they just hear you singing.
Are the shows typically on weekends, or are they during the week as well? Or okay,
they are Friday, Saturday. They're 2 weekends: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And our Sundays are a matinee.
Okay, very good. So obviously, before we finish, we'll make sure we come back around and make sure our listeners know more, where to go, website, social media, how to get in touch with you guys, audition, whatever the case may be. But are there any questions, anything I haven't asked that I should have asked, or anything else you'd like to share before we kind of shift gears briefly?
So tell them our upcoming season and how they can get tickets and passes, season passes.
I will. He
passes.
did just say that he was going to come back around to that.
I want to make sure we're done.
Well, mom knows best.
She knows better.
Take the opportunity.
We have a season flex pass, which has different tiers. It is relatively cheap. off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember all the numbers. It is for a general for an adult. It is $65, and that gives you 5 tickets, and tickets are generally $16 each.
Okay.
Because we have set up our seasons to where we realize all 5 shows aren't going to be every single person's cup of tea. These flex passes allow you to use those 5 tickets however you want. So you could use all 5 of them for A Christmas Carol, or you can use one for each show that's going to be in the season. So those are and when they are, we have them anywhere for an individual pass to a family of 8 can get a pass, and then we also have senior and youth discounted flex passes, and then we just have our normal tickets. If you look at our season, you're like, I'm not going to come and see but one show, and I'm just going to buy one ticket. We have our website that you can buy tickets at, or you can buy them at the door if seats are still available for those shows. And then every Saturday,
best ticket in town. It's a really great price for our tickets.
It is $16 for general admission and $13 for youth 13 and under, and senior 65 and older. So yeah, that's our ticket. And then our shows for that season is we're starting off next weekend, October 14th. Yes, that's next weekend. Whew. October 14th through the 23rd is Matilda the Musical, after the Roald Dahl book, and the 1997 blockbuster hit. And then A Christmas Carol, which is our classic holiday show. And then after that will be A Comedy of Tenors, which is actually the sequel to the Ken Ludwig's best-selling and award-winning, I don't remember which award, prize, Lend Me a Tenor. And then we're doing Bye Bye Birdie in May, which is our classic musical. And then we're ending with the cult classic Heathers the Musical in the summer. So that's our 5 shows of the season.
And we intentionally try to put that one in the summer, so many of our college students that are home have been in theater locally can come back and join us.
All right, very good. So just curious, off the top of my head, I used to know this. How what's the capacity of the theater?
Our absolute full to the brim, can't sell anymore, is 240.
Okay.
We usually only sell 210. We consider that to be full because we have like a little, we call it the triangle of danger, the Bermuda Triangle, where it's just not great seats.
Yeah.
But if someone comes in, they want to see the show and we don't have any other tickets, we will sell them. You will be getting a view of the wings the entire time. You'll get to see all of our actors staring, waiting to go on. But some people might like that. I don't know.
Sure, gotcha.
But 210 is our soft max. 240 is our max.
Very good. So I appreciate you sharing that. So we're going to shift gears briefly because this is some questions we do. We cover every episode because this is a podcast about Gaston County, so we got to get a little Gaston County flavor here. And we're going to call this, I change the name every week, so we're going to call it Broadway on Clay Street this week.
I like it.
Round of questions, okay?
We might steal that, Stephen.
So, okay.
Broad Clay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, I'll start with you this time so Jennifer doesn't steal your answer. So, favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
I'm going to steal her answer just because. No. My favorite, even though I cannot eat it anymore, is butter pecan. I'm actually allergic to tree nuts. It's a more recent development, but it reminds me of my grandmother. That was my grandmother's favorite. So,
well, that was my dad's favorite. So, again, I appreciate that one greatly. And that's been a relatively more common answer than maybe you would think. Yeah. Jennifer, what about you?
Grape.
I mean, you just did my dad and my mother. and grape is actually very popular.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how often that is the answer. So I heard somebody walking in say something about this next question. So Jennifer, stick with you. Sundrop or Cheerwine?
Sundrop.
Mine's Sundrop too. Yeah.
Was that who was it?
That was me. Okay. I have Sundrop in my cup back there.
All right, very good. Well, we'll just take your word for it. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's why it's back there.
Lauren, favorite local restaurant?
Agave.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
We are a Mexican eatery family. We love Mexicans so much. It's something that all four of us will eat. We all four are extremely picky eaters, and that is hands down our favorite. If we are going out, there is a cacophony of voices. Agave. That's it.
Very good. Jennifer, what about you?
For casual, Black's Barbecue. For a nice web custom kitchen.
Okay. The other two
Ours is casual and nice is agave.
popular answers. Jennifer, favorite outdoor activity or favorite park or something here in Gaston County?
Probably my favorite activity is just hiking, and my favorite park would be right now Rankin Lake, although I think once we get this Linwood thing, it's going to be.
Oh, it could be, yeah. Right, but Rankin Lake is terrific. Lauren, what about you?
I also like to hike. We last summer really enjoyed hiking around the South Fork River. It was a really fun thing that we would do. Husband didn't enjoy it as much because he was carrying our 4-year-old now around all the time.
Well, good for him. He should do that.
He needed the exercise.
Got him prepared for the tool bag that he's now carrying.
And then favorite park, I don't know if I have a least favorite park. When we lived closer to Limeberger, that was our favorite. Now we live closer to Martha Rivers, so we go there a lot. George, is it Poston or Poston?
Poston, yep.
We like that one. You can hike there too. I do a lot of on-the-side photography. When I do that, it's at usually Rankin Lake. That's where I always take people for photography. So we got some pretty parks. I never really thought about it, but we really do.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. All right, so here's my question that I ask every episode regardless of the circumstances. So, Jennifer, back to you on this one. UNC Duke or NC State?
Duke, Blue Devils, woo!
Very good, Naomi. Very good. Good timing.
Big Coach K fan cried last year.
Good timing on that one. Yeah. Well, I'm not. I can't say I'm sad that he's leaving. Lauren,
I'm going to say UNC.
That's a lie.
Well, no, there we go.
That's a lie.
It is. I don't care.
But you did.
But when I was younger, I did. I don't know how much of it was coerced, but it was. We were a Duke family. I like Duke fine. I'm a Gonzaga fan, so we'll do that. I'm a Gonzaga fan.
Why?
Because I like to say the word Gonzaga. That's a cool word.
do you even know where Gonzaga is?
No. out west.
It's in.
It is out.
It's in Washington.
Washington.
State,
I was going to say California, but I knew that wasn't right.
All right, we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Lauren, what is something very few people know about you?
That I'm a Gonzaga fan.
It's out now.
Oh no. I'd say maybe it is that my greatest passion is writing. I like to write. I've written a lot of books that will never see the light of day. I've actually had some poems and short stories published before. I've written a couple plays. I tried to get my brother to write a musical with me, but he won't do it because he's another Gemini.
Is there somewhere that some of this material can be found online or anywhere?
I'm sure.
Okay, so that's the mission of our listeners is to go find that.
Go find it.
All right, Jennifer, what's something very few people know about you?
All right, let's see. To stay in this arts vein, I'll say that I sang Puff the Magic Dragon with Peter Yarrow of Peter Palmieri on stage. And I used to regularly talk to Peter Yarrow every Thursday.
What?
Is this the first time you've heard that?
Yes.
That is an unexpected answer, and we've had some good ones, but that's pretty high up on the list. So
for someone that likes to talk about themselves so much, why
we can't let that one go. How did this? We need at least another 30 seconds of some info about that. How did that?
So the way that this came about was through an organization called Braver. Well, it was at the time Better Angels. And it is called Braver Angels now. And Peter became involved in Braver Angels when we were both on a music committee together.
That's interesting.
And got to know each other through being on that music committee.
Oh, wow. Okay. That one will not come up again, I'm pretty sure, in the future.
I didn't know about it because I had moved out at the time. That was the thing. Okay.
So, Jennifer, maybe sticking with you, is it a recent book or it doesn't have to be recent, but blog or article or something that we might recommend that our listeners might enjoy?
So I love historical fiction, and I would say I just finished The Alice Network, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay. You said The Alice?
The Alice Network is World War I.
Cool. Very good. I love that kind of stuff, too. Lauren, about you?
Fictional. Because of an actor who kind of twisted my arm, I started reading what is called the Red Rising trilogy. There's actually 5 books, but we don't talk about the last 2. They don't exist. Those were really good for like a nice just fictional read. I just started reading Justin Benalini's Man Enough book. It's a nonfiction book about deconstructing hypermasculinity. So I just picked that up to read. I have a son, and it's been a good book so far. It's been interesting.
Yeah, sons. And he's young, right? I mean,
yes, he's 4.
Okay, yeah. So young sons can be fun and interesting.
He is.
Mine is 23 now, so we're way past that stage. But yeah, I remember having young children a long time ago. Never a dull moment.
We call him the Tiny Terror.
So, listen, I, as usual, we get some great feedback from those questions, and I appreciate you kind of indulging us on those Gaston County questions. So, especially Puff the Magic Dragon. That's. I'm not sure what to think about that one, Jennifer. That's really good. So, a couple more questions, and we'll finish up here. So, Jennifer, maybe stick with you here, and you're both being lifelong Gaston County residents. Besides the Little Theater, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
Location. You probably get that one a lot. It's a great place to live as far as location. We have rivers and lakes and mountains, and we have a big city close by. If we want to go see a professional sports team, or we have museums here that are great, like the Shield and the Gaston County Museum, but we have museums there as well. Crowder's Mountain, that state park is, and then we're an hour and a half from the mountains, a few hours from the beach.
Yeah.
So I think location is a great thing. Opportunity, we're growing, and there's so much opportunity, for people to become a part of the landscape, so to speak, either through development or starting businesses, becoming part of an organization, starting an organization. There's a lot of opportunity here. We've got great schools, great colleges, but my favorite thing, and I keep saying this, is the community, the people.
Yeah.
I did not make this up. Our tagline is great place, great people, great promise. We have great people here, and as we're growing, we're friendly, we're hardworking, we're determined, we're gritty, but we're there for one another, and we cling to some of our traditions, yet we are able to move forward.
Sure.
And as we're growing, we still and we're becoming bigger and bigger, but we still have that small hometown feel. So that makes me real proud that we can evolve and move forward, and yet still keep that community spirit.
Absolutely. Sorry, Lauren. I said I was going to ask you first.
I know, and she literally said everything.
The last question I will be sure to ask you first. So you're up now, and good luck following that. She just did that should be on video for trying to bring business into Gaston County.
Our next ad. There's really nothing left to say. I really can't. My answer was going to be the people.
Sure.
I've met a lot of really great people, and whether it's professionally as I'm branching out and getting to know people and trying to, bring people in and find collaborative partners. All the people that I've spoken to have been great at the GBA, at the public library, at the Honey Hunters, at the Gaston County Museum. All those people have been great and great to work with, and finding all these little kind of gems in the community that I didn't know about before. When I'm meeting these people, those have all been one of my favorite parts of my job, outside of the art stuff. So the people and agave.
Okay.
The parks.
That's good. Slide the food in there.
Agave, please sponsor us.
Food in there is important. So we'll make sure.
We do have a lot of great food, though. A lot of great restaurants besides agave.
Maybe when this one is released, we can tag them in our social media when we release this episode. So, like I said, Lauren, I'm going to let you answer this last question first. It's one of my favorite questions, but knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? Which feels like maybe just a couple of years ago?
Oh, almost half my life. But for my 20-year-old self, wow, I would tell her, and this is such a gross answer, but don't give up when it comes to if we're talking specifically about the arts. At 20, I had pretty much given up on any artistic dream, writing, acting, everything. I was done. I had already in my brain changed my career path out of art into law. I was planning on going to law school. And I was just so jaded and ready to be done with the art world. And I missed, I think, some opportunities during my early teens or late teens, early 20s because of issues that I allowed to become more prominent in my life than they ever should have been, because at 20, things seem a whole lot worse and world-ending than they are. And so I could go back and be like, hey, I know you're dramatic, but maybe stop being as dramatic about these little things and focus on the bigger picture. The other thing would be hug your grandma extra tight. That would be the other thing I'd tell you.
Okay, well, that's very good. Yeah, perspective at 20 is just, for me, it was pretty much non-existent altogether about anything important. Mm-hmm. Jennifer, how would you answer that question?
Well, I would say take care of yourself better. Don't let yourself go, and then you have to really work hard when you get 50 to try to get back in shape. Really, truly what she said, don't fret the little stuff.
Yeah.
Don't get so bogged down in the little stuff. Take time to enjoy life, savor every moment, those kind of things that, we all say. But one of the things that I've learned later in life that I wish I'd learned earlier was don't surround yourself with people just like you.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And even the people that, find things to love about people that are different. Find some common ground. Find some things that you can respect about others who might not be just like you. But you're going to cling to your beliefs and your morals, but you can still value and find great things about other people and get perspective from other people. That just hear stories, listen to stories, listen to experience, and then the other thing I'd say, while you reach for the stars, keep your feet planted on the ground too. We don't get so caught up in the what ifs that we or if we are successful that we forget those roots and those struggles that we had to get there. But love deeply, play hard, enjoy life.
Well, those are good. I heard a couple things there from both of you. I mean, first one was just the things that seem like such a big deal when you're 20. And a lot of them really were not. And again, I'm afraid. I've got my kids are 23, 21, and 16 right now, and I'm afraid it just requires experience and time. I mean, I don't know if it's possible to have that. Maybe there's some exceptions out there, but I just find it hard to be 20 years old and have that kind of perspective. It's almost impossible. And then, I do a quote at the end. I'm going to try to look up a quote real quick. I think it was from a couple of weeks ago, if I can find it. And it goes to what you said, Jennifer. Yeah, I used one from Ralph Waldo Emerson a couple weeks ago, and he said, "In my walks, every man I meet is my superior in some way, and in that I learn from him." So if you expose yourself to other perspectives, people that maybe aren't like you have a little humility, you can learn something from everybody that you come in contact with. Every interaction, and being intentional about putting yourself in those situations can really be helpful and important. So. That was some pretty good 20-year-old answers there. So I'm grateful for that. So obviously, the main point here is to bring some awareness to the Little Theater. So where can our listeners go to learn more, find out about shows coming up, get in touch with you guys, just share anything and everything if you can? Sure.
Our website, which is the usually most accessible way to contact us, is www.littletheaterofgastonia.org. We have a Facebook group, which is just Facebook.com/Little Theater Gastonia, and an Instagram with the same handle. Our easiest email to get to is ltgastonia@gmail.com. Our office number is 704-865-0160. And then all of our audition information is either on our Facebook or on our website. We have a monthly newsletter we send out. So on our website, there should be an area in the Contact Us that allows you to sign up for our email list, and you'll get all that information as well.
Okay.
And I would just add that, it's as she said, it's very important for the community to support us. So, we're always looking for those season sponsors,
Okay.
playbill ads, show sponsors, donations. And some people think, well, I can't donate, but those $20 start adding up.
Sure, it does.
And it does. And it is, tax deductible. But the biggest thing is, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't think I'll like it. Give it a chance.
Right.
Because so many people come and they were like, oh, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's just taking that first step.
I tell people all the time, not a single one of our actors that are on our stage is a professional. We're all just exploring a fun hobby.
Yeah, so we do. We need the community to support us so that we can stay open and continue to provide this for all of us in Gaston County. So, get out and give us a try.
Well, good. Yeah, any consistent listener to this podcast knows what it's like to listen to somebody who's not a professional. That's for sure. So, but I'm sure the shows I've seen at the Little Theater of the Years it's a little more than just people who they may not be professional, but they sure appear professional in most of what I've seen over there. So, again, I appreciate that greatly. So, you heard it here about the Little Theater. It's another great hidden gem maybe here in Gaston County if you haven't. And it's on what's the address? People will know.
It is 238 South Clay Street, Gastonia, North Carolina, 28052.
In the Fuse District.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So
and if you want to send us a check, it's P.O. Box 302, Gastonia, North Carolina, 28053.
that's even better, right?
Yeah.
'Cause,
If you send it to that address, it's going to get bounced back. So I got to throw
so
that
that's
P.O.
a good
box
that's
in
a good
there.
point. That's something we forget about actually in the digital world we live in. That there are still ways to send money by what we might call snail mail around here. So
We do have a PayPal.
Yeah.
PayPal is good too. So I'm assuming is there a donate section or
There
something
is,
on the
and
website?
On our website,
Okay,
there is.
very
there
good.
is.
So, well, ladies, I sure appreciate your time, and I'm as I usually I'm going to finish up with my little quote and book recommendation for the week. And I am, if you listen to these podcasts, anybody who knows I'm a big Walt Disney fan, not just for him personally, but kind of the company, what they've accomplished, but kind of his view of kind of changing the world, so to speak, and what he accomplished. But two things. The first is a book written by a gentleman named Marty Sklar, who worked for Disney for many, many years. It's called Dream It, Do It. If you're interested in entertainment, Disney in general, I would highly recommend that book. And pulled a quote from Walt Disney, and I'm going to put it in the category of curiosity, experimenting, and moving forward. And Walt Disney said about Disney, about himself and his company, we keep moving forward, opening new doors, and doing new things because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting. So we talked a little bit about something earlier about maybe even the Little Theater needing to evolve. And so many organizations need to keep evolving because so many things, change is going to occur whether we like it or not. So that's kind of my thought and to take with you this week. So to our listeners out there, thanks so much for taking the time for listening to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast. And don't hesitate to contact us here at our email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. I don't think we've got any emails lately, Naomi. So somebody send us an email. Let us know that you're still out there. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. And apparently giving us a good rating, a good 5-star rating, helps the podcast get noticed. Thanks again to Jennifer and Lauren for being our guests today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you today by Naomi Hunt from GSM Services and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.